Hi. A couple of weeks ago, back in March 27, if I remember correctly, I did a flight from Camden that involved flying around this area here, north of the Camden Aerodrome, to become familiar with the training area. So unlike all of my previous flights, this one actually required me to be able to recognize several landmarks in and around this area, and to be able to recognize them from different altitudes and from different viewpoints. And obviously that wasn't easy. I was used to flying circles around the airport, and doing that only required really one or two landmarks. And therefore area familiarization was a whole different ball game. So I thought, how can I train myself to be able to recognize those landmarks prior to getting in a plane, which is not just more expensive, but there's a lot of other things that I also have to be able to do in the plane while I'm flying around the training area, such as radio, aviating, and so on. So I decided to try out Google Earth and see if this can actually help me become a little bit more familiar, and at least when the next time comes that I get in the plane and fly up here, I'll have some more clues about what to look for and what is around me to be able to position myself. So in this video, I just wanted to quickly show you what I figured out to do, how to use this tool to help me with my area familiarization. And of course, there's a lot more, but this is me using this tool for about an hour, figuring things out. The first thing that I did when I went into Google Earth was to look for Camden Airport, and then to the drawing tools that the tool gives me, basically draw straight lines like this, going away from the airport, just to mark those 2 nautical mile borders, I guess, or points on the map, so that I know where the controlled area starts and finishes. So I didn't bother going south, because that's a restricted area in terms of powered planes. Don't go there, because that's where the gliders go. So we always fly up on this side of the airport. That's why I've got those 3 red lines. So each of these lines is, as you can see, 2 nautical miles. So on upwind, that line goes up to around this part of the Northern Road. So let's say around, there's MacArthur Anglican School, Narellan Creek, Bambino's Kindergarten, that is Huntington's Park. So that's on that side. There is also on the other side that is coming from the Oaks. So the Oaks is right here. So you can see that goes to around here, where there's a little lake with the University of Sydney, Camden. And I remember seeing this area here from the plane on the approach. And on the other side up here, there's Mayfield up the top. You can see that once we get across the bend of the river right here, that is right where the runway is. So I use this bend of the river to tell me when to turn bend. So a little bit further, just before the next bend of the river starts, there's a couple of ovals here as well. I think these are for horses. That's where the 2 nautical miles is. So at that point, according to the Ezra, once we clear the controlled area, we can actually head north to head away from the Mayfield and the Bringelly inbound reporting points. So we go right in the middle to avoid any planes coming in from those directions. So this is tracking north. Just going to turn like that. So this is tracking north, and here you can see Emu Plains. There is a river, and I think, yeah, this is the M4 that goes to the Blue Mountains. And there's a large bunch of lakes that you can see as you're heading north from this direction. So that was the first thing that I did. Of course, there's more that I can talk about. That was the first thing that I did in order to get my bearings. There's Mayfield, there's Bryn Jelly, and there's also the Oaks. I should actually put a, right here, I'm going to put another marker, just like I did with the others. So this is the Oaks, because that is also an inbound reporting location or landmark. So I'm going to make that orange as well. All right, so this is going to make it easier to see those landmarks as I am zooming around Google Earth. All right, now the other thing that I did was to just remember how to come back to the airport as inbound from Bryn Jelly. I can do the same thing from the Oaks, which actually are flown. Actually, yes, I've already done it. You can see the line here. But let's say from Bryn Jelly. So we come in from Bryn Jelly from various locations, from various directions. We come in, we hit Bryn Jelly, and then we call Camden Tower. And we let them know that we are inbound. They provide instructions to maintain 1,800 feet, and then to report 2 or 3 nautical miles depending. So if it's 2 nautical miles, then I'm going to look for this settlement here, which is Oran Park, right here, Oran Park, and around here I'm going to make my call. Oran Park is actually a little bit further, so I can actually measure it. So if I go here and make this measurement, you can see I'm at 2.4, about 3 nautical miles. So, yep, I'll make that red as well if I can, just to make it stand out as this is reporting, and I'll make it 8 pixels. All right, so now roughly when I make my inbound call at 2 or 3 nautical miles, Oran Park is a good landmark because it lines up very well with this yellow line, which indicates the path or the flight path to join downwind. So there's downwind, there's base, and once I get clearance for visual approach, I can land into Camden Airport. So that's if I'm coming from the northern direction from Bryn Jelly. Something similar happens from the Oaks. The nice thing about the Oaks is that as I'm going to line it up like this, and you can see that the Oaks is basically just a straight line into Camden Airport. So I make my inbound call at the Oaks. I get instructions to maintain 1,800 feet. And you can see that as I'm closing in, the 2 nautical miles reporting point where I get into the tower control area is right here where this block of structures is. There's 3 lakes in the middle. You've got these structures. So that's where you report 2 miles, and if given clearance for visual approach, you can just land straight into from the final leg without having to do anything else. Right, so there's lots more, but I'm going to keep it short for this part of this video. Now, the other thing that I did was that I went to Flight Radar 24 and I grabbed the KML file for my last flight, which I think was on the 26th. For some weird reason, it's not showing up here, but I was able to get this file from my phone and then upload it to Google Earth, and it looks like this once I enable it. So let's have a look of like an overview of the flight. So the green, mostly green line indicates the flight that I did. The color of the line actually indicates the altitude. So green is about 3,000 feet. And you can see as I'm approaching the airport and preparing to land, it changes color, it becomes kind of blue. So blue is almost ground level. And if I tilt over like this, you can see that there is altitude on this line. It's not touching the ground, it's just overflying it, which means that I can actually approach it and take a view, or have a look at the landscape as it would look like from that particular altitude. So you can see down here, right here, you can see the altitude of the camera right now. So it's at 1,683. And if I raise it a little bit, I'm now at 1,700. If I go in one of the other points in the flight, a second, say, let's say somewhere up here, it was at about 2,800 feet, and I can look around. I can also use the tools to help me orient, change my heading, look at what the landscape looks like from these points of view, and of course tilt up or down. There's a new Sydney, Western Sydney Airport. So this tilt changes my altitude essentially. So from here, I can spend a bit of time to see around this world, or this virtual world, which is based on real world. But it will help me identify landmarks. Let's see, if I move, let's say, look towards Camden Airport. So still, all right, there's Bringelly. So Bringelly right there, Camden right there, Mayfield and the Oaks. So let's say that I'm flying towards Bringelly to report inbound. And right now I'm at 2,500 feet. I'll go a little higher. 3,000 feet. You can actually just barely see the intersection there. There should be an intersection right here. The brickworks right here is the intersection. So these things start to make sense. I'm just going to move back again a little. The thing that I see easier from this altitude is the brickworks right there, which gives me a hint as to where the intersection for Bringelly would be. But that means that once I head over this direction, I get closer to the Bringelly waypoint, then I can call Camden Tower to let them know that I'm inbound. All right, and finally, another thing that I know I can do, but I haven't done it for this video, is to use an additional tool that will allow me to animate the flight. So that with that tool, I'll be able to load the information that I've put together in Google Earth, and that will allow me to animate one of my past flights and actually see what it was like animated, which is pretty cool. Might do that another time. Okay, that's it for now. Any ideas, questions, especially if you have a better way of doing that, or if you have any suggestions of things that I can do to make this better, especially controlling and navigating this virtual world. Happy to hear. Please let me know.